Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning to those who on Zoom, monitoring from where they are, joining us in this important press conference today here at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, the Ministers' Conference Room. At this time, I would like to call the Deputy Minister for Children and Social Protection.
Our partners, Gift Direct, the World Bank, USAID. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you all to the official press conference of the government's initiative on the New Social Safety Net Program, called here today by the Minister of Gender, where she will be giving updates on our challenges, our progress, and our new initiative going into urban Maserati County. I say to you, welcome to the Ministry of Gender.
So at this time, we join the Minister.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Mayor, Jefferson T. Koji of the City of Monrovia, our partners from the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCPO, Commonwealth Fed, our partners from the World Bank, who's joining us virtually, and our implementing partners here directly, other members of the ministry here present, and of course, our focus people this morning, members of the press. We're pleased to inform the public through you today, the press, that the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has concluded all necessary requirements to begin a cash transfer pilot to 15,000 households in urban Monterey County, especially concentrating on Monrovia. This intervention is a part of our response to the COVID-19 pandemic to assist extremely poor and food insecure families affected by the pandemic. This initiative is led by the Ministry's Social Cash Transfer Program under the Liberia Social Safety Net project sponsored by Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, and the World Bank. This effort is an expansion of the government's own social protection portfolio, as these households will be added to the Liberian Household Social Registry. The ministry selected geographies for this pilot using evidence-based criteria to define high levels of multidimensional poverty, including informal housing, propensity to natural disasters, and health-specific infrastructural gaps, creating additional vulnerability. So, for example, lack of access to drainage and public facilities. All households within the selected communities, and these communities are communities like Saytown, Lambotown, Sipway, etc., are eligible to receive support from the cash transfer program in order to meet immediate household needs and prevent the use of negative coping strategies caused by the pandemic. The cash is to be received by a female in every household, except where there is no female in a household, then we'll move on to the next most responsible head of household. A single person household is $15 per transfer, while 6 persons plus household is $90 per transfer. The government of Liberia is committed to responding to the needs of all of its citizens and residents alike, as outlined in our own call for agenda for prosperity and development. This real-led administration remains dedicated to lifting 1 million people out of poverty, as outlined in the PAP. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection will continue to seek means through which it can respond to the vulnerable populations as government's foremost social protection institution. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, our partners, and the public, as you may be aware, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection is currently transferring cash to nearly 4,000 beneficiary households in Maryland and Grand Coulee counties. Beneficiaries in Maryland and Grand Coulee will receive 2-quarter payments worth of transfers next month, so in February, in an amount totaling more than 600,000 United States dollars. It's done by working with our partner government ministries, namely the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Health, to provide support in home gardening and education on healthy lifestyles, and also on water, sanitation, and hygiene, WASH, respectively. Again, we want to thank our implementing partners, Give Directly, and our partners, our supporting partners, SCDO, formerly DFED, USAID, and the World Bank for their support. The Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection hopes to source more funding from our partners to continue the work of our Liberia Social Safety Net projects to enable us to increase our beneficiaries across the country.
My question here is now rural Montserrat will be benefiting. So how soon do you intend to take this project to the rest of the counties?
Where you initiated this cash transfer program, like Maryland, what has been the success story so far?
Honorable Minister, you mentioned earlier that you don't want people to see that as a mere handout. But it's obvious that if you give out $50, somebody will see it as a mere handout. Are there plans to do increment or to see increment very soon?
So they're asking who are those eligible. This program is for the poorest of the poor. We'll go in and their determination as to how we get those people. And like I said earlier, most times we target female head of households in those areas. Like you saw before going to Maryland and Grand Crew, and this is a continuous process that came over from the past administration. One of the pilot projects, the first project that happened, the pilot project, was in Bomi County, and Bomi County is considered the poorest of the poor counties in Liberia. And now we'll move on to Maryland and Grand Crew, which are also considered poorest of the poor counties in Liberia. So that is how that is determined. And we asked for a pilot, when does it come to an end, and then you talk about sustainability. It's a pilot because Montserrat has never had this published before, and especially Monrovia. And this is because, like, have already been said, we want to be sure that we're helping, again, the poorest of the poor in the city here, so that they're not finding other means that might not be the best means to support themselves. So we want to be sure, and then sustainability depends on, like I said, we'll be continue going to partners trying to get funding, so that we're able to continue helping our people. So, and then we talk about how soon will we be going to other counties now that we talk about Montserrat and Grand Crew and Maryland. Again, it goes back to the same answer. It's about making sure we can get more funding in. Once we get more funding, and that is the idea, because once the project is successful with all of the things that we're doing right now, those are the partners that will be willing to help for us to continue. And then lastly, we talk about the mention of the merit handouts, right? And like I said, we don't want people to see us as a handout. Most times, in most countries, this is one of the things that most times, even with the ministries of finance, all of that, they think about, okay, so why are we doing this? This is something that just will give people money and it will free, but no, that's not it. We are consistent in how we are dealing with our people. It's not only about giving somebody money and say, go, no, we follow through with them. Like we talked about earlier, we do accompanying measures, and so it's not about only giving a person money, but what do they do with this money? How do they turn that money around, right? We'll make sure that, they're doing home gardening, for example. So if we give somebody money and they can plant potato greens or they can plant cassava or whatever it is, that is going to augment whatever else they have to do with the cash to be able to still feed themselves. We'll also talk about hygiene, right? We talk about like how they can keep safe, clean water, and also talk about most times, especially when we're going to the counties, nutrition is high on the list, the kind of food you want to buy, and also making sure children, for example, of those families are in school and accessing other resources that are available, services that are available. So it's about educating them too on all of these things. So that is the tie-in. And in terms of the money amount, that is what is considered the amount that we can comfortably look at a family and say, okay, this is $15, for example, that they didn't have before. Now they have this, they can do something with it. A family that is more like 4 or 6 in a group get $90. How they share that is something that the team sits with them and talk about even before we give the money. So all of these things happen before we give the money, so that once they get the money, they're moving into use it wisely.
the Monrovian city government going to remain very committed, supportive, along with the Ministry of Gender, in ensuring a successful implementation. We want to overemphasize as our partner that Monrovia is very laudable that this initiative will be covering nearly 15,000 persons. Like the minister just admitted, we have more people in Monrovia, and will also be much more appreciated when we do across the 15 counties. Every loop and coming of our country can have a direct benefit. This is one of the most appropriate ways that we, as the government, can find a means to reach our people. Honestly, I want to say thank you, and you can rely on our support in Monrovia as the mayor of the city. We will be very much supportive. We want to say thank you to our partner, and we look up to them to see how we can expand this initiative for a more holistic approach so that our people can benefit. Thank you.
Give Directly is the world's largest NGO devoted exclusively to unconditional cash transfers, which empower people to drive development based on their own needs. To date, Give Directly has delivered over 1.4 billion Liberian dollars, or approximately 8 million US dollars, directly into the hands of everyday Liberians, all via mobile money. Give Directly is honored to have been selected by the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection as an implementing partner to deliver their emergency social cash transfer pilot in urban areas during COVID. We would also like to extend special thanks to FCDO, USAID, and the World Bank for their continued investment and engagement in building a strong social safety net for Liberia. We would also like to thank the Honorable Superintendent of Montserrado and the Honorable Mayor of the City of Monrovia. The ongoing global crisis has created challenges for Liberians who have fallen ill from COVID-19 or who have lost access to economic opportunities. The nature of a pandemic and a state of emergency is that it affects all people, regardless of their specific circumstances. Cash transfers are a unique and fitting solution to such a broad, sweeping crisis, as a single intervention that can address a wide range of problems facing Liberians today. Unconditional cash transfers afford families dignity and the power to choose what will help them best as they weather this storm, whether that's food, clean water, purchases for a new or existing business, or anything they need to improve their lives. The added benefit of cash transfers in an economic crisis is that these purchases will translate into income for the surrounding businesses and communities, providing a much-needed stimulus to those who are not direct recipients. Finally, this pilot program will connect all recipients to mobile money, ensuring that vulnerable populations have access to modern digital solutions. We commend the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection for their continued efforts to build the social safety net in Liberia, and for their commitment to reaching vulnerable populations in these unprecedented times. Give Directly is proud to play a part in that journey, and echoes the Honorable Minister's hopes that this work can be scaled to reach more people in need. It's been an honor to speak to you today. Thank you.
Here at the Ministry, we're also leading other initiatives that all come together to bolster the sector, the social protection sector. So it's important that we look at this in totality. So Minister, if you allow me, I'll mention some other things that we're taking part in that will kind of fill in the holes here in this story. Right now, the Ministry is doing data collection in 4 counties across Liberia. That is Bong Bomi, Nimba, and Maryland. The reason why we're doing this is to collect household data on households so we can understand from a government perspective where lies the poorest of the poor and how do we get to them, what do they need. So government can be more targeted in our approach to unearthing poverty and addressing it in a systematic way. This brings us to also consider the social registry. All of these households across Liberia will be entered into a social registry that will allow us, as well as partners, to better target interventions when it comes to social projects, right? So we understand what exactly the people that we're going to, what exactly they need. So we come to Maryland. Maryland is a county right now that has cash transfers, and there's also a county that's being enumerated or having data collection taking place. Right now, through the minister and the ministry, what we've been able to do in Maryland is to provide all of our beneficiaries in Maryland and Grand Crew two very important things. First, a national identification card and a cell phone to be able to access mobile money. This is a very important way to help them access financial services, right? So we talk about expanding people out of poverty. It's not just a handout to give them money, but also to enable them to participate in the greater economy. So these are some of the success stories right now that are coming out of Maryland and Grand Crew. We are enabling our beneficiaries to do more than just receive money, but also to be a part of the larger economy. Now, there were some other questions about eligibility, and I'll be very brief here, Minister, on the urban cash transfer. What we look for in this pilot was to identify smaller communities that have multidimensional indicators of poverty to be able to test out whether we can move into these places, give cash, and let's be mindful, we're trying to give cash to avoid people from using negative coping mechanisms, right? We had a lockdown, we have COVID-19, which is still very real here in Liberia, and want people to be able to receive the cash for household consumption. So the numbers given were pegged at an amount that will impact their household consumption. That's the small things they can buy, right? To buy food, medicine, all the small things in the house, all right? We pegged it at $15 per capita, which means per person in the house, up to 6 people. So the maximum amount transferred per payment will be $90.
On behalf of FCDO UK, formerly David, I'd like to say thank you all for the opportunity. UK has been supporting LSSN since 2018 through a grant funding in the amount of 8.4 million, which is equivalent to 11.5 million. And we have so far been able to give £3 million, the equivalent of 4.1 million. And we are pleased to be working with the Ministry of Gender and our partners in the World Bank, the USAID, to build a national social protection system. We want to also take this time to commend the Ministry of Gender for their work to develop the social safety net. UK Air Funding is supporting both COVID-19 urban transfers in Montserrat and the rural transfer as well. We are also pleased to support most vulnerable society, in particular as Liberia recovers from the economic shock of COVID-19. We want to welcome the transition of mobile money transfer, which will help reduce logistical barriers to cash transfers. And also the mobile money will help offer a range of other benefits, such as enabling health messaging and increasing transparency too. Lastly, we want to encourage other partners to consider supporting the LSSN so that its reach can be expanded and more beneficiaries supported in this aim.
Thank you all for hosting us. USAID would like to congratulate the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection on the rollout of their cash transfer pilot in Montserrat County, and we hope that it will prove meaningful in aiding the most vulnerable populations of Montserrat as the previous cash transfer program in Maryland and Grand Crew counties. As you know, USAID, in conjunction with its implementing partner Give Directly, has embarked on its own unconditional cash transfer program, which seeks to aid up to 85,000 beneficiaries with cash transfers of approximately 7,700 Liberian dollars. Many of these entrepreneurs, of course, are women and children who have limited access to markets, roads, and transport. Moreover, USAID is pleased to see models similar to its unconditional cash transfer program being utilized by our development partners, and we are eager to learn more about program outcomes. The process of identifying and validating beneficiaries and registering them is a complex process, and we can all learn from one another on how best to implement these critical social support programs. USAID appreciates the ongoing collaboration and communication. So with that, USAID wishes the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection and Montserrat County all the best in the execution of its cash transfer program, and we look forward to hearing more about it.